You have data around making us a good parent, and I don't even know how do we even measure, what do you say is good? How do you even measure that?
Yeah, so that's another area where there's obviously a lot of different measures, but one of the things that's surprising in the data is how little overall parents matter. So you would think, I think most parents, I'm not a parent, but also I just want to apologize. I wasn't dissing the accountants or the ones on the 1 to 10 scale or the shorter guys. I'm just presenting the data.
Yeah, that's I always say that when I'd say, listen, it's not that there's anything wrong against this group, that group. We have happy and unhappy retiree traits, and one of them, I think one of them showed up on the unhappy retiree list was hunting. And I remember like getting real feedback, like that's, and I was like, no. I always say it's the data. It's not what I think. This is the data says that.
I'm just presenting the data. Exactly. So the first thing in the data on parenting is that the overall effects of parents, the way they study this is adoptees. So sometimes there are these adoption programs where it's kind of randomly determined who your parent ends up being. And it turns out kind of parents matter overall to much less than just about everybody thinks on most dimensions: income, education. There are a few things you can influence. One of the things you can influence most actually is how your kids think of you. Do they think they had good parents? So you can't change how educated they are, how rich they are, how happy they are, but you can change, how they think of you, which is something that is pretty valuable to most parents. But so, some of the big things, again, education, income, happiness, parents don't really influence things, values. Parents aren't having a huge impact. So, all these decisions we sweat about, when you actually look at the overall effect, the effect just isn't that big. That said, there is one decision that parents make that may have kind of a disproportionate impact, and that's where parents raise their kids. So there's all this research, again, from tax data, which is just becoming available to researchers, that where kids grow up just can dramatically impact any outcome we can measure in tax data. So how educated they are, how rich they are, whether they have kids as a teenager. Neighborhood really does matter for parents. And what is it about a good neighborhood? Like, why are certain neighborhoods really good?
How do you measure that? Or like, what's good?
Yeah, we can also compare it to other facts about the neighborhood. And it turns out a lot of the things you think might really matter. So, great schools or a booming economy, those don't really matter that much at all. The things that really seem to matter are the qualities of the people in the neighborhood. Are 2% of two-parent homes, a percent of people with college degrees, percent of people return their census forms, a very, very random measure. But it seems to be something about adult role models, giving your kids good adult role models. And there's actually also studies that if you have a daughter, if you raise her around a lot of female scientists, she's more likely to become a scientist herself when she grows up. So I think we don't think how much the other adults we're exposing our kids to are impacting them and, how they turn out. And even if, apart from the actual place you live, the city you live, the block you live, who are you exposing your kids to? Like, are these people you want them to turn out to be? I think one kind of thing, one of the reasons that parenting is overrated, but neighborhoods are underrated, is kids have complicated views about their parents. So sometimes kids think their parents are the coolest people. Sometimes kids think their parents are the least cool people, the people they don't want to be, the people they want to rebel against. But neighborhoods, kids tend to think they're pretty cool regardless. So they may rebel against you, but they're not necessarily going to rebel against the other people you expose them to. So I kind of recommend outsourcing parenting a little bit. Expose your kids to people you want them to turn into.